Attention passionate Green Bay Packers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Green Bay Packers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Green Bay Packers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Green Bay Packers fans. Let's get to the news now, guys. If you've been following the Packers closely over the past few weeks, you've probably noticed that the offseason is heating up in a way we haven't seen in a while. And no, I'm not just talking about draft picks or free agency signings. We're talking about some serious roster moves that could shift the entire landscape of this NFC North division. One move that's been making waves lately is the situation surrounding Romeo Doubs, the young wide receiver out of Nevada, who the Packers drafted in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft. Now, at first, it seemed like Doubs was set to be part of Green Bay's future, especially considering his promising rookie season, where he caught 42 passes for 425 yards and 3 touchdowns. Nothing earth-shattering, but enough to catch the attention of Packers fans who hoped he'd develop into a reliable WR2 or even a WR1 someday. But fast forward to 2023 and 2024, and the story was a little different. Doubs showed flashes of talent, especially with his route running and ability to make contested catches, but he didn't quite leap into the star role many envisioned. He caught at least 45 passes for over 600 yards in each of the past 2 seasons, which isn't bad at all, but it's also not enough to make him untouchable in the eyes of the Packers front office. Especially considering the team's ongoing quest to find that true WR1, that guy who can consistently carry the passing game and take some pressure off of Christian Watson and the other receivers. And honestly, the Packers have been in this position for a while now. Since parting ways with Davante Adams, they've been searching for that go-to guy, that reliable playmaker who can take over games and give quarterback Jordan Love a trustworthy target. They've drafted some promising players, like Jayden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, both of whom showed flashes of potential last season, and then there's Matthew Golden and Savion Williams, picked in the 1st and 3rd rounds respectively in this year's draft. That's a lot of young talent in the receiver room, and it raises the question, where does Doubs really fit into this puzzle? The truth is, with all these new additions, the chances of Doubs sticking around and carving out a significant role seem slim. Especially considering the financial side of things. According to reports, the Packers could save around $3.4 million in cap space by releasing Doubs. Now, I know that may not sound like a lot in the NFL world, where millions are the norm, but every dollar counts, especially for a team like Green Bay that's always trying to maximize its roster with smart cap management. It's a move that signals they're looking to free up some flexibility, perhaps to make more moves in free agency or to invest in their draft picks. But let's not forget, at only 25 years old, Doubs still has plenty of football left in him. He's young, athletic, and with the right team, he could very well revitalize his career. And that's where the rumors start swirling. One team that makes a lot of sense for Doubs is the Washington Commanders. They're in a bit of a transitional phase right now, especially with their wide receiver room. Terry McLaurin is the focal point of their aerial attack, but his contract situation is a bit uncertain, and Doubs could step in as a solid WR3, someone who can take on a bigger role if needed. Standing at 6'2" and weighing around 204 pounds, Doubs has the size and athleticism to be an outside receiver in Washington's offense. He could serve as a reliable target for quarterback Sam Howell, especially if McLaurin's contract negotiations hit a snag, or if Washington wants to have some insurance behind McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, who's already 29. The potential here is pretty interesting because if Doubs hits his stride, he could not only be a valuable contributor in the short term, but also develop into a long-term option for Washington's future plans. And we can't ignore the Steelers either. Pittsburgh has been kind of a middling team in recent years, not quite contenders, but certainly with enough talent to push for a playoff spot. Their current WR2 situation isn't exactly locked in. Robert Woods and Calvin Austin are battling for that role, but neither has really separated themselves. Doubs could step right into that spot and make an immediate impact. The Steelers have traditionally valued versatile, reliable receivers, and Doubs fits that mold perfectly. Even if he's not the long-term answer, he could be a significant piece for them in 2025. Now, let's take a step back and analyze what this could mean for Green Bay's outlook for the upcoming season. Right now, the Packers are at a critical juncture. They've invested heavily in their draft picks, especially at wide receiver, with Golden, Wicks, and Reed all expected to take on bigger roles this year. The expectation is that Golden, coming out of college with high draft capital, will step into the WR1 spot and shoulder a lot of the offensive load. Reed, who showed flashes of brilliance last season, is poised to slide into the WR2 role and hopefully find more consistency in his second year. Wicks, who impressed in 2023 with his route success and ability to beat man coverage, could be the dark horse for the WR3 spot. In fact, Wicks' 2023 numbers, especially his success per route, have caught the attention of analysts and fans alike. His route running, work off the line, and ability to find open space have made him a promising young receiver. If he continues to develop, he might be the best bet for that pivotal WR3 role. That leaves Doubs on the outside looking in, especially with the team adding more offensive firepower in this draft and free agency. The decision to potentially release Doubs is probably a strategic move to free up salary cap space, allowing the Packers to bolster other areas of their roster or to keep more flexibility for future moves. But it's not just about cap space. It's about building a team that can compete at the highest level. Green Bay's window to contend is still wide open, especially with Jordan Love showing promise as a starting quarterback and with the young talent they have accumulated. The division, however, is getting tougher. The Detroit Lions made a significant leap last season, and the Minnesota Vikings are always lurking as contenders when they find consistency. The Chicago Bears are in the middle of a rebuild, but are not to be underestimated. So every move the Packers make in the offseason, including decisions like potentially releasing Doubs, is all about positioning themselves for a deep playoff run and hopefully another shot at the Super Bowl. Now, let's talk a little about the broader picture. The NFL landscape is constantly shifting, with teams trying to find that perfect mix of youth, talent, and cap flexibility. For Green Bay, it's about balancing their present and future. The draft has been crucial in this process, and the recent picks indicate a clear plan to rebuild the receiving core around a young core. Golden, Reed, and Wicks are all players with high upside, and the coaching staff and front office seem committed to developing them into reliable targets for Jordan Love. This is a pivotal year for the Packers, and decisions like the possible release of Doubs are part of a larger strategy. It's about making the roster as competitive as possible, trimming the fat where needed, and making room for new talent that can elevate the team. The NFL is a league of readjustments, and teams that are agile often find success. Green Bay has a rich history of turning over their roster smartly, and this offseason appears to be no different. And remember, guys, all these moves are not just about the present, they're about setting up the franchise for sustained success. The Packers have always been known for their stability and smart management, and even though some fans might feel sentimental about a player like Doubs, the reality is that roster decisions are driven by a desire to win now and in the future. The cap space saved can be reinvested into the team, whether that's through draft choices, free agency, or retaining key players. Looking ahead, the expectations for the Packers are cautiously optimistic. FanDuel still gives them decent odds to make the playoffs next year, even without Doubs. The core of the team is young, talented, and hungry to prove themselves. Jordan Love, in particular, is entering his second full season as a starter, and with the right supporting cast, he could take a big step forward. The offensive line is solid, and the defense is always a key piece to watch, especially with some promising young players developing. In the end, what all of this adds up to is a team that's in transition, but also in a strong position to contend. The roster moves, including the potential release of Romeo Doubs, are part of a calculated plan to optimize their chances. The division is tough, but the Packers have shown resilience and adaptability over the years. They've built a culture of winning, and that doesn't change overnight. It's always about making the right moves at the right time, and right now, the focus is on building a team that can not only compete but dominate in the NFC North and beyond. So, as fans, we need to stay tuned because the offseason is far from over. There's a lot more to come: free agency, draft picks, trades, and each step will shape the 2025 season. Whether Dubs stays or goes, the Packers are clearly looking to position themselves for a deep playoff run, and every move they make is with that ultimate goal in mind. The future is bright, and as always, Packers Nation, we're here to witness every moment of this exciting journey. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Green Bay Packers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And finally, I want to hear from you, Packers fans. What do you think about this potential move to release Romeo Doubs? Do you believe that's the right call, or do you see him finding a new home and thriving elsewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and all the latest Green Bay Packers news. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Pack Go!